I'm Shani, and you're watching It's Style Theory. Hey guys! I liked this episode. I liked it. As usual, I'm going to do a review of the episode, and then I'm going to talk about it. So let's get started with Spencer. In the beginning of the episode, Spencer gets home after spending 3 days in rehab. She starts remembering things that she forgot from the last night they saw Allison before she went missing. Her mom hires a live-in therapist to help her recover, so he's staying in the barn and he's being really controlling, but for good reason. He takes her electronics away, her laptop, her phone. She's not allowed to go to school or to even leave the house without him going with her, basically. She goes to sleep and she finds dirt at the foot of her bed. With the dirt, she finds a note from A. The next day, Mrs. De Laurentiis comes over to see if Spencer's mom is going to RSVP for her charity event. Mrs. D makes a comment about her clean sheets, and the comment she makes us think that she knows about the dirt. Spencer goes running with her therapist. When she's running, she has another flashback to the night Allison went missing. In the flashback, she's running after Allison, and she picks up a shovel, and it looks like she hits Allison, because we see blood splatter onto her face, but we don't actually see what happens to Allison. So yeah, they could be trying to trick us with that. We don't really know. I have some theories on that I'm going to talk about later. Later on, Spencer gets an SOS from Aria, the same one that all of the girls get, and she sneaks out to go to Emily's house, and they all have a meeting there. I will talk about the meeting at the end. Aria. In this episode, Aria goes to another town for a school tour. It's like a whole weekend long, and her dad is apparently there, but she could have been lying about that because we never actually see her dad in the whole episode, but she keeps talking about how he's there. But anyway, she doesn't spend any of the weekend actually doing the tour. She spends it with this guy. The writers gave him kind of like a cliche backstory. He wants to play music, but his parents don't want him to. She tells him about Ezra and how she left town to get away from him, and he's like, why are you leaving town if he's the jerk? Sounds like he should be leaving town. So when Aria gets home, she takes this boy's advice and she confronts Ezra, and she tells him that she wants him to straight up leave town. He gives Aria a copy of his book, and she goes home and reads it, and what she finds inside is surprising. And so she calls the SOS meeting at Emily's. In this episode, Hannah, she sees Officer Holbrook at the cafe, and she apologizes for kissing him in the last episode. He's like, that's okay, it's all good. But I need to talk to you about this note I found in my car. Did you write it? About, the note about where Allison is that Paige put in there. She's like, I don't know who wrote that. And he doesn't think it's real. And of course she doesn't want him to think it's real. So at school, Travis asked Hannah out on a date, and wasn't that seem sweet? And so they go on their first date, and it's really sad because at first Hannah's like having a good time, but then Mrs. D comes by. Hannah sees her leave with the detectives, and so for the whole rest of the date she's distracted and on her phone, and it's so rude, and I felt so sorry for Travis because clearly it was important to him. She didn't just ignore him. On top of that, she leaves early. Emily. In this episode, Emily confronts Ezra, which made me so happy. So she goes into his classroom and confronts him at school. Yeah, he didn't have much to say when she was confronting him, did he? He hasn't had much to say for himself since the whole ski lift thing. At the end of her confrontation, Emily's like, here's my paper. I want a real teacher to see it. So Emily's at work, and Mike comes in angry because Mona broke up with him, and he thinks that the girls had something to do with it. And I was really sad about that. So later, Emily goes to confront Mona. Emily just had like a confrontation streak, and she got answers out of Mona. She cornered her in her driveway. And Mona tells us finally why she was working with Ezra, and it's because she was sort of blackmailed into doing it. Ezra knew all this stuff about her that she'd done that was illegal, so by telling Ezra what he wanted to know and helping him out, he kept her illegal business a secret. And apparently she broke up with Mike because she actually fell for him. She wanted to let him go because she didn't want him to get involved in all of the mess. And I thought that was sweet, but I don't think she should have broken up with Mike. Yeah, maybe she should have, but it's sad. So, the four girls meet for an SOS meeting called by Arya at Emily's house, and Arya tells them that in Ezra's book, he thinks Mrs. De Laurentiis is A. And I don't know about you, but when she said that, I was completely shocked. Yeah, I never saw that coming. I was just completely shocked, but it also kind of opened my eyes like, oh my god, maybe she is. A few other quick things that happened in this episode. We don't see Paige at all, and we still don't know where Allison is. Shauna still hasn't come back, so she's either in Georgia and telling the truth, or she's, like I said, she could be in Ravenswood. Okay, so let's talk about this episode. I'm gonna start with the new A theory. In the beginning of the show, I went through and thought about each character and considered how each character could have been A, and the parents, all four of the parents are characters that I didn't think were A, since the beginning. I never thought in a million years that any of the parents would be A. Alice's mom is the last person I would have ever expected. But now that they've said it, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why she could be A. I'm not the only one who's always saying, why don't the liars tell their parents about A? And I know they get blackmailed into not doing that, but why don't they tell their parents about it? And if I were them, I would tell my parents and things like that. But now I'm thinking, what if the writers didn't have them tell their parents because their parents are involved? What if all four parents were on the A team? That's probably not the case. I don't believe that. But obviously some of the parents know more than we think. Okay, how come when someone new becomes an A suspect in the show, we all of a sudden start seeing evidence towards that theory? When we thought Ezra was A, all of a sudden he started looking guilty. And at least to me, he didn't really look guilty before the exact moment that we started thinking he was A. After that, he started looking guilty with everything he did. And now that we think Mrs. D is A, how come in the exact episode when we all of a sudden have this new theory, that's the episode that she appears in Spencer's room behind her in the dark? How come we've never noticed her doing anything like that before? Okay, now I'm going to talk about the Spencer and Allison thing. So Spencer hit Allison with a shovel and there was blood, and Mrs. De Laurentiis saw it all. So does Jason know? Does Melissa know? That could explain their weird behavior over the years and all of the secrets that Melissa's always had. Maybe Spencer actually killed Allison that night. I mean, you know where I'm going with this. This could be evidence towards the Allison twin theory. Yes, I know Marlene King disproved this theory. If you watched my review of the last episode, you know how I feel about Marlene King and her disproving things. I, for one, believe in the Allison twin theory. I think she has a twin for a lot of reasons. So yeah, if Spencer did kill Allison that night, and she has a twin, then the Allison we're seeing now maybe is her twin, or maybe Spencer killed Courtney. Everyone who believes in the twin theory thinks that her twin's name is Courtney. I think that's what her name is in the book. Like I said, haven't read the books, but I keep hearing the name Courtney. So this could be leading up to the reveal of the twin theory. I would be fine if the twin theory was real. I think that would be a really cool twist. Then there's the big question of, why is Mrs. De Laurentiis covering for Spencer? Is it something that both groups of parents agreed on, or did Spencer's parents force her to do it? That's another reason why she could be angry and could be A. So she could be A, or she could be another false alarm like Ezra. And God knows that scene in the end of this episode where she's standing in Spencer's room in the dark, looking like she's about to do something. She could have been about to do anything. Sure, maybe she's A and she was about to do something bad to Spencer. Or maybe she has a completely normal explanation for that, for sneaking around in the dark like that. Maybe. I'm just saying, the show is very good at making people look guilty. So I watched the promo, it looked dramatic as usual, and I looked at some pictures. So yeah, I guess the four girls decide to be wedding dress models or something like that in a charity event, I think for Mrs. D. And it's really exciting because Jason is coming back and Arya's mom is coming back. That is the person I was most surprised about, because I was starting to think that she wasn't ever going to come back. I was starting to think maybe something happened with the actor where they didn't want to be in the show or something like that, but she's back, thank God. I'm happy. Okay, so that's all for my review of this episode. I am really interested in hearing your theories on this episode and what happened and Mrs. D being A and just everything and the other parents and everything. So please comment below, tell me your theories and predictions. Yeah. And in the finale, apparently Allie is gonna tell all, or we're gonna get like a lot of answers. In this episode, they said that Ezra was gonna... They said we were gonna learn a lot about Ezra. We didn't really learn a lot about Ezra. Anyway, I'm excited for next week, as always. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe because I upload new PLL reviews every Thursday, and if you watch Scandal, I upload Scandal reviews every Saturday. Links to my social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are in the description. Visit my channel because I upload movie reviews every Monday, fashion videos every Tuesday, food videos and DIYs every other Wednesday. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Until then, can you keep a secret? Okay. And it seems like it's gonna be really... It seems like it's gonna be really dramatic for Spencer. Okay. There we go.